Morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. I am Marius Historicus, your local time loss history lecturer, and today we're going back to a little bit of lecture note work, right? So, in case y'all haven't remembered, this is a military engineering survey, kind of going from classical Greece all the way up to the Hundred Years' War. So, we are mixing and matching a few uh, how do I say it, different periods of time, all focused around the themes of mobility, countermobility, and survivability, right? The three main well, not disciplines, but the three general areas that military engineers work in, right? So that's what we are going to be doing. The specific area that we're looking at today is Roman fortifications. And there's a little bit that's already been done on the particular section I'm working on, but I do need to let me see, is it 6? Yes, here it is. So we're going to unhide this. We're going to just move it over a little bit. There we go. Now we can see it perfectly. So this is kind of going to be our little like research article for the day, for lack of a better term, right? We're going to take a quick little look at some of the evidence fortifications around the city, modern day city of Trieste, and see what we can extrapolate in terms of, hey, if this is what they did in what was known as, well, it's not really continental Rome, but like, hey, if this was what they did along their frontiers during the early part of the Republic, what were they doing later on? What information can we kind of extrapolate from that, right? So let's dive into this one a little bit, just so we can see kind of what's going on here. Right, so this is early Roman military fortifications and the origin of Trieste, Italy. By all of these people, so Anglo-Saxon city archaeological scan Trieste area based on airborne LiDAR, GPR, archaeological surveys, led discovering early Roman fortifications, goes of main camp, flanked by two minor forts. Including Greco and Four Rim, Latium Campiana, proves a relative chronology of the first installation between the end of the 3rd century BC and the first decades of the 2nd century BC, whereas other materials such as the Symphora maintain a strategic role up to at least the mid 1st century BC. According to archaeological data and literary sources, there's probably established connection with the Roman conquest of the Istria Peninsula in 178 to 177 BC. They're in use, perhaps not continuously, till found Trieste in the mid 1st century BC. Da, 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 da. All right. This hypothesis would also be supported by literary sources that describe it as a Phorian. Ooh, God, I do not know how to pronounce that name. Frurion? Ooh, all right. I'm gonna have to research what that word is because goodness gracious, I can't pronounce that to save my hide. But yeah, that definitely seems like something that we want to kind of keep an eye on there, right? So the art camp building is probably key on the strength of the Roman army. Well, yeah, we can tell that. Right, based on LiDAR, survey showing that the Mount Grociana structures was part of a Republican fortification system, including 2 additional sites. It's Castra and its diminutive Castellum, which in general have been translated as fortress and camp fort. Following this terminology is camp fortress and small size, larger than 10 hectare, and the term fort to indicate the smaller fortifications. All right, so where exactly is this? Yep, so this is the Roman Empire as it was at the beginning of the 2nd century BC in this little like gray area. Then we have, our precise area of where we're going to be looking at right here. Okay, so we got that. What else do we got? Then along the Roman territory in Carini, Taurasi, in his history, right, along the Adriatic coast, this is the modern city of Trieste down here. So everything in that little small square you see in figure B is here in figure C, right? And what they're saying is that site number 1 is the Mount Grosseano Piccola, the first firmly identified Roman military encampment in Italy, at least archaeological purposes, dating back to that time period. And second is the Mount San Rocco site that we're going to be focusing on in this one. Though we do have to talk about this a little bit, right? So you have fortifications, San Rocco, Montedoro, which is to the southwest. Torpor Marley, Iron Hills, divided by the quaternary Puzzler Chandra River. Steeps crossing Plateau towards the instrument Ridge. Right at the Tides Point, the Soka Village, the Stratamir, Radamari landing place. San Rocco site is located in Central Street, just a few kilometers away from the innermost present day shore of Mount Muji Bay and southeast slope, surrounded by the Sandra River. Dorford, San Solomon Terrace, the Mondor Ridge, looking at the Zagula Plain, just in front of the San Rocco Hill. Okay. So that's all to the well and good, but what can we actually draw out of this, right? So after first conflict in Rome, the habits of history in 221 BC, the area became subject to direct Roman influence. This is actually kind of a potential case study-ish of how the Romans were able to conquer and fortify an area. Because it sounds like that they did skirmishes here. The history territory here is what they were working against. That's what forced them to abandon. All right, good. So we got at least a little bit of something going for us here in terms of how to actually make this work. All right, yeah, I can work with this stuff right here. As long as, yep, we still have this up. So we're going to scroll down to my section on Roman fortifications, aka survivability. Da, 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 da. Study with is the Sirocco fortifications just to the southeast of modern day Trieste, Italy. Okay, so we got that just to the south of, southeast of Trieste. And we're gonna say what exactly, right? Yeah, this whole thing right here. That's probably a pretty good place to start writing. So Roman Republican military came to the area. 221 BC. The conflict. Inhabitants of the Istrian Peninsula. And by 183 BC, Roman influence and power projection forced a Celtic tribe to relocate beyond the Alps. To abandon Apidia and relocate north of the Alps. So this is just going to be a kind of placeholder review title, for lack of a better term, because there's a ginormous amount of authors on this paper, and I'm not about to cite all that right now. So huge authors. And the full title of this thing is, Early Roman Military Fortifications and the Origins of Trieste, Italy, and the Proceedings of the National Academy Sciences of the United States of America. 112, number 13, March 2015. This is E 1520 through E 1529. Yep, so this is published online. And we're citing this at what page? E1521. All right, so that actually provides us with a good long time frame, or timeline rather, of how long the Romans were kind of present there. It gives us I have somehow gotten myself squared away. What the heck happened here? What the heck is this? I did not realize that my thing was not properly reflecting. That is on me, people. I apologize. Oh yeah, that's right. I was typing the damn endnotes. No wonder I screwed that up so quickly. I apologize. As I was saying, so have to not use my number pad, have to use everything up top there from writing crap. But we got that fixed, done. Just change that to Arial really quick. Save it. So, okay, we got a bit of historical background here, right? Soci Nominus Latini was stationed in the Eastern territory to control the day's population and prevent possible attacks against Aquileia. This area, in fact, continued to be politically and civil until at least the mid-first century. Oh, the colony of Trieste was probably founded by Gaius Julius Caesar, Kaiser, during his consulship in Gaul, 58 to 50 BC. A chronology considered by his authors, less likely during his dictatorship. Trieste is, of course, the predecessor to Trieste. An incursion of the Epidaes to Trieste in 50 BC might have caused Roman military reactions. Interesting. Okay. So interesting. So this is using, oh God, what I forget what LiDAR exactly stands for again, right? But this is light detection and ranging. There we go. Derp. So we can kind of see here that there is a trapezoidal shape here, kind of with a secondary, or rather a first wall right here. This is the Grociana Piccola site. Now, the San Rocco is this site down here. So we can see multiple walls, buildings, and kind of the downslope right here. And it looks like this is saying that, hey, there are more uh, archaeological structures in this photo of this same site right here. Interesting. So lighter dredges of Grociana Piccola. Yep, Mount San Rocco. Archaeological relics are only partially recognized by these individuals. So structures 1 and 2, there's a rampart that they're able to clearly identify here. As it runs from the southwest end towards the middle part, its altitude increase, then gradually decreases approaches the level of the surrounding plain. Starting with the southwest segment, the ramp is preserved about 6 meters in length, so it's a maximum width about 25 meters. Figure 2C, structure 2 in figure S1. Wherever figure S1 is. Oh boy, that gets us to something I don't know about that. Unless that's a secondary thing. Yeah, right. So we're going to take a look at what that is super quick. See if I can figure it out. Ah, okay, this is all supporting information stuff right here. Oh wow, there's actually quite a bit of stuff to dig down into here. Well, crap. All right. We will figure that out in all good time. Okay, back to where I was, right? So southeast external rampart tilts about 30 degrees in the east-west direction. So basically finding evidence of external walls, smaller fortifications, transversal ramparts. So we have rectangular structures, walls. Okay. The warrant shows that are not clear to identify the future. Recognize a large area, about 170 160 meters, between the 155-meter wall and the southern external fortification. A series of parallel, long, rectilinear features oriented northwest, southeast are intersected, mainly in the southern part, by other perpendicular structures, creating a regular subdivision space in square/rectangular entities about 10 to 15 meters by 10 to 15 meters. So to my mind, that sounds, let's see, this is, let's see. This is around what? figure 2D structure 14. Yeah, so they're saying that here they're able to find like evidence of things being divided by plots. To my way of thinking, that sounds an awful lot like, what am I thinking? Yeah, this is what they're talking about here, these divided plots. To me, that sounds an awful lot like some kind of living area, an encampment, so to speak. And what we would see up here with structure 4, let's see, what do they call structure 4 again? Yeah, smallest square fortification. Looks like different rotation, like the pass, protect the highest point of the hill, where in the central area the remains of San Rocco Church are still visible. Yep. So if I had to be a betting man, this fortification here served one of two purposes. One, it was the command post of the garrison force here, or two, this was actually their like last defensive line, right? Because it sounds like this is an enclosed structure based on walls, whereas some of these walls here are not really linked and composed to anything like a headquarters area, but that kind of sounds like a pretty useful analysis. Let's see what they're able to find. It's all stuff right here. Okay. Yep, on the contrary, the San Rocco site fits well in the dimension of large fortification. Its irregular space subdivision recalls the plan of a military barracks. If the San Rocco Hills identify the main camp before by Livy, the location of the door side overlooking the access to Rosanta River is the same as the small military force. Hmm. Do, do, do. Okay, so this definitely seems like a central camp. So we want to be a little more technical, right? So San Rocco is the main military encampment. Grosiana Piccola is kind of this outlying encampment, outpost, whatever we want to call it. And this last one, Montedoro, is kind of a secondary garrison designed to sweep the flanks of the hill and provide further visibility kind of to the northwest, southeast of the fort, kind of like this axis right here. And this, I want to say this kind of emphasizes some of the sight lines that they were able to see and dominate, but I have to double check on that a little bit. Because this is figure what? All right, diagram showing the directional visibility from the Roman fortification with an 8-kilometer radius. Blue, green, Montedoro. Yeah, so like from an 8-kilometer perspective, what were they actually able to see, right? And clear that San Rocco is able to to see all the way to Trieste. Montedoro is able to see up to the limits of this, and Grosiano Piccola is really able to kind of see all of this area right here, which, is kind of what we would anticipate. More specifically, this is the Roman coastline, right? So as you can see, the coastline was much closer back in the day. So it makes sense that they're able to have visibility on everything that's coming from the bay into inland, even though this was really the site of Trieste itself. And as we can see, this development right here is very much a modern port area, not what we would expect out of an ancient port. It's a little too straight, it's a little too regular, there's clear square structures. We don't see that in the past all that often. But this is, at the very least, a start on what we can determine here. So this actually gives me a huge amount of stuff to work with. Okay. Oh God, what do we say? The initial settlement of Rome in this area was, right? Okay. By 177 BC, Istria was conquered. Uh-oh. Did I do a thing again? I hope I didn't do a thing again. 1 second, I think it, oh, yeah, it disappeared on me again. There we go. Yeah, once again, I started using the freaking number pad, not the top row. I'm super bad at this. It's definitively conquered. Romans. Garrison of Sochi, Latini. Wait, what was the precise term that they used? Right? Sochi nominus Latini. Now, what does that mean? Because that's a term I don't recognize. And I'm always going to relook exactly what that term is. Soci nominus Latini. Confederates of Rome. Oof. That. Ooh, yikes, yikes, yikes. Sochi or Foderati. Oh, yikes, that's not great. And this was also. Yeah, that was a social war period. Hmm. All Peninsula Island, South Po River. Yeah. The yeah, so Sochi Lat nominate Latini. How do we P. Sochi. Sochi. Nope. Sochi nominus. Latini doesn't really show anything. But we can make a guess, right, that Soci nominus Latini is kind of like the Italian Confederates who supported annual levies. Because Soci Latini is only used like once. Da, da, da. No. Let me see nominus. Yeah, this is a hard one. Like, what exactly does that term mean? All right, stand by really quick. Right. It's clear that this particular term is going to require a little more extensive research for me to be able to figure out exactly what it means, but that does at least give us a good starting point to then delve further into, the purely military terrain aspects that are going to be serviced here. Unfortunately, based on how late it is, that's all the time I have for lecture notes. If you tune in occasionally, thank you for tuning in. Know that not a whole lot of you chatted, but I do appreciate it. And if you want to see the continuation of these lecture note series, or if you have a particular topic you want to discuss or have any research, please reach out to me and I will be more than happy to take a look at it, right? So let's see really quick. Yeah, it's only 43 minutes. However, I need to do a whole lot of stuff here. So we are just going to end the stream right now. I hope everyone has a good evening, morning, afternoon, whatever your time zone is. And I hope you learned just a little bit. Thanks for stopping by. Good night.